All right, we seem to be a little bit early here, and I apologize for what happened. We had a couple of little problems here with our setup. Can you believe that? They had setup problems, and so I'm actually out here just a little bit early, and I may be out here and nobody actually knows I'm out here because I probably didn't tell anybody that I was going to do that, and it didn't send anything out to anyone. But anyway, here we are, and we got a lot going on again. With brand new tornado warnings being issued, we got a tornado watch that's showing up several areas here, and they're just going to keep going on down the line upstream as we move along through the next 24 to 48 hours because nothing's going to change really rapidly here. And I got to get into these tornado watches that we have. We got some video to show you here in just a few moments that Brett took a little bit earlier from his drone of a tornado that's pretty exciting. And so that will be out and about here in just a few moments, and we'll see a little bit more of that as we do kind of move along and to get started here. So I was going to give it a minute to build up an audience, but I think I screwed up. Howdy, Brandon. What's up, bro? I think I screwed up. I don't think I sent out a notice. Or if I did, it was short notice. So my apologies for that. Once again, we got lots of stuff going on. There's a nebula or something behind me here on my screen. Grab deal that I got, and then you can see quite a bit of stuff headed over here on this big monitor. So let's just get down to it and talk about what's happening here at the present, because there is a lot that's still going on here, and there'll be a lot as we go through the remainder of this evening and into the overnight hours tonight as well. So we got mucho to talk about. And we begin right now with a look at the radar. This is the radar as it looks at this moment, and we do have the heavier showers and thunderstorms that are still lined up here across much of the state of Louisiana and the southern sections of Missouri. All that is coming in around the turn. It goes all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico, just to the south there of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Some big storms there that we're looking at coming in from the west and moving on eastward. Check these out. We've got quite a bit right here on the coast near the Sabine River, and all the way up to Lake Charles, LCH, where the National Weather Service office is there. And that comes close to our first tornado warning if we go from south to north. This is going to be up near Browndale and moving to the east-northeast. As we watch this, let me make sure of something here because, let me see here. What's our motion? Our motion is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour, 13 miles to the northeast at Jasper, and headed off in that direction to the north and to the east. The Lake Charles, Louisiana National Weather Service office issued this for Newton and Jasper counties in southeastern Texas. That'll be moving on into Louisiana, though, in the southwestern portions of the parish here very soon. And you got thunderstorms up and down the line. You can see it from Warren back over to Woodville into the Jasper region there, too. Scattered about Hemphill, northward all the way over to Manny and to Robeline as well. And then Natchitoches, you got a couple of showers and thunderstorms there also. All the way up to Campty now, we've got a pretty big thunderstorm that's still ongoing there, too. If you put the velocity data on there, I don't see a whole lot just yet with that situation, but we'll still be watching very closely as to what happens there. And the one thing I do want you to notice overall and very quickly that you see, again, we talked about this so many times during the night where we knew for a fact that we had, much of this that was going to go on for a while here. We knew that we were going to have that, and so they're still out there. I got to end this Q&A thing. Yeah, let's do that. There you go. Scarlett, you're very welcome. And I'm going to just try to give you bunches, everything that I do know here at the moment. Now, you can see that the motion, general motion is here at the surface. But when we get aloft, all these start to blow off in this direction. You can see it, so there's veering definitely with height. We know that already, and it's getting into some of these thunderstorms. And the actuality of it all, you can see this pretty well also, is that within this line, look how straight and linear it is on this back edge. It's very straight and linear until you get to this one storm. Well, that tells me immediately that this one storm right there is higher than all the rest because it's reaching up there enough to get into the westerlies and kick this little bit of moisture off to the east. That's the deal right now. We're kicking that moisture off eastward because this is the one cell that's high enough to actually do that. Now, we do have a couple of storm reports here. Tornado report, multiple mobile homes destroyed on Camp Road in Farmville. That's going to be in Union County, not too far away from Farmville, according to law enforcement officials there in the region, and also in Union County. Power lines are downed into that area as well. presumably from a tornado that took place not that long ago. Now it's moved off to the east of Bastrop, where we still have heavy thunderstorms occurring here, and the possibility of a tornado or two not out of the question there, just to the northwest of Vicksburg. That's coming in across the Mississippi River here shortly. We'll start to see more and more in the way of thunderstorms moving into the Mississippi River Delta and beyond as we go through the remainder of this evening. Again, we'll go back down to the Lake Charles, Louisiana radar to take a look at some of these other storms. And the ones that are coming on shore already have that sort of variability about them. POE, the radar down here in Alexandria, has this storm to a T. It is a tornado warning, although you can sort of see there is a little bit of inbound and outbound associated with it right there near Scrapping Valley. And moving northeastward, a few little areas of lightning there, too, that show up from time to time when we have these sort of situations. And you do have spinning and inbound, outbound winds that do occur. So it's pretty obvious that's what's going on, at least there into the short term with that situation there. Longer term, we got some more checking out this area here, too. Just to the east of the river, we got Zwolle, Louisiana, and Manny. And as you can see, those go all the way up to Robeline and into the Natchitoches area. This is Natchitoches into Louisiana. Right there on the interstate, we've got thunderstorms, Campty and beyond. They go over to Winfield, into that area there, too, near Jenna, down to Ball and Alexandria. A little thunderstorm there as well. So we're seeing plenty of energy here popping up across the area. Forest, Louisiana, tornado warning until 9:30. We had about 4 of them in a row there that just popped off because a little bit of energy coming back around the bottom side of this thing as it was headed on to the east. Now we're getting over here into the state of Mississippi, which is somewhat concerning to us as well. And we do know that we have, in fact, a couple of watches here, and let's just get into them. I can show you the one watch that we have goes until 10 o'clock tonight, and this is the one that now includes the western edge of Louisiana and also southwestern edge, if you will, of Arkansas and the eastern side of Texas. Now, this one goes until 2 a.m. This one's going to encompass all the Mississippi River, really, from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, southward into Bastrop. There at Vicksburg, at the bridge. We got a good camera there in Vicksburg. We'll be watching as we go through the rest of the night tonight, Alexandria and beyond. And just to look, this is in that area where we had the 29 tornadoes reported back, last week when we had that whole situation going through. And some of the storm reports, at least up to date here and at the moment, up until 8:10 this evening. And these are some of the storm reports that we've had already where we're looking at, you can see here, a tornado report from 1 northwest of Grapevine. It's the correction to a previous tornado report. Video showing a tornado crossing the road near Highway 114 near a hospital there. So in Grapevine, that's Tarrant County in Texas. Tarrant County, a tornado warning there for sure. Correction to a previous tornado report. That's just another backup to that one. Looks like buildings, photos of damage to buildings, commercial businesses near Grapevine Mills on social media have been made. So a pretty big deal there overall as well, with buildings being down and 5 injuries at least. We know of that. The damage to the Old Town Road, 451 north of DeBerry, and I've got some video for you from DeBerry that Brett shot just a few minutes ago, and we'll take a look at that. I was going to actually let him sort of describe that for us, but he is still out and about and on the roadway. Let me see if I can find... No, he's not there. So that's kind of where we are with that. Hail reports, we got dozens and dozens. Had 2.5 inches in Rockwell a little bit earlier in Texas, Rockwell County. That was tennis ball size hail being reported there as everything was being piped up pretty quickly there across that area. And we saw an increase in really intensification of just about everything as it was early in the day today. And like I said, Brett has been out and about. He shot some video. A couple of times he's been out and about with his drone, which takes time. So kind of watching what's going on there. Let me see if I can show you some of that video. This is from Keachai. This is Keachai, Caddo Parish is where this is going to be at. Caddo Parish, Keachai video. And this is the tornado that Brett shot earlier there. Small little squiggly thing that was out off into the distance. Now, this is from his drone high above the roadway, but you can see where it touched down there for a few moments. Very disorganized at this point. Trying to get its act together. It was the cloud base was super low down to the ground, and this is where things are really, it's not robust. This is where it's so disorganized. It doesn't really have a chance to do a whole lot here at this point. This is Keechai once again. I think that was debris that fell there from his camera angle. Let me go back and look at that because we were just talking about this during the day today. We were talking about debris doesn't always stay right next to the tornado. It's either a bird falling from the sky or that was some sort of debris. See it at the top of the screen right there? I think that was debris, and I think that's why Brett zoomed out. I don't think that was a diving bird. I think that was debris. And that's how far it can be from the actual tornado. Isn't it amazing what Brett can get with his drone when you start talking about this thing and seeing what he sees from several hundred feet above the ground. Now, it crossed over the roadway here. At least the rotation did. You can still see some rotation high up into the cloud there. The whole thing looks quite ominous. Not your typical wall cloud at all. And look, see, this might be a shingle or something. He's trying to find it. Look at it coming down. Do you see that? On the upper left-hand side of the screen, do you see that? That's the kind of stuff that we see, and we're like, where is that? So this got up into the upper atmosphere. It might be a shingle, and I think it could be. But that was something that was, first of all, disrupted by the tornado to begin with and sucked up into the storm. See, I can see more debris beginning to fall here. This thing was actually on the ground for a while, much earlier than you saw it there because it was too disorganized to actually vacuum up stuff like that. How amazing is this, though, to see the debris falling from the cloud and know that we can then see that debris on the radar imagery. Check that out. I don't know how big that is. That might be a piece of plywood. I can't really tell because you don't have anything to compare it to off into the distance. How amazing was that video? That was quite unbelievable. And again, we got some more video that he took. Let me key this up. This is from DeBerry, Texas, when he went up again with his drone. I think this is a rain-wrapped tornado for the most part. You can see the little lowering there on the left-hand side of the screen. I believe this is the first time I'm seeing this video as well. I see a lot of rainfall here, maybe wrapped up into the rain. Sometimes you have to sort of squint, and get rid of the glare. But off into the distance there, I still think we can see a tornado there into the distance, at least where we lose some of our actual visual that we were seeing. So definitely at this point, that's some wild stuff. DeBerry, Texas, this is one of the homes that was damaged there. And again, you might have seen a shingle falling from the sky. Look at the trees that were down. These are large trees, fruit trees. Some of them taken down. They come down at the root ball because we've obviously had some rain there into the area. And you can see they just ripped down from the root ball. This is damage that was done out there by a gentleman's, I guess, a barn or an outbuilding where he was, on their off time. They shoot a little hoop there. But the roadways were trying to be cleared during the day today. Lots of emergency vehicles out and about trying to do that very thing. And making sure that everybody is okay as well. But this is the kind of scene that you've seen there in that section of Louisiana as we went through the day today. Now into the western side of Mississippi as we go through the night tonight and the early part of the day tomorrow, with more extensive damage being done in some areas that we have yet to get to. So that's going to be the other part of this that we'll be concerned about and watching very closely going through and into the next 24 hours, too. More heavy rainfall across that region as well, the other thing that we've been watching for quite some time. And we'll be checking out some more of that as we move through and into the next 24 hours, because that's pretty awesome. That was pretty wicked stuff there, looking at his video, which gives us a much better idea of what actually has been happening into the short term. While we've been sitting here behind the camera talking about all this stuff, looking at the radars, it actually has been happening. And sometimes exactly like we thought, debris falling well away from the actual tornado. And again, I don't know how big that debris was. That was a panel. It looked like some sort of a rectangle that was falling, flipping over and over again in the sky. So that meant one end was longer than the other, and maybe a doorway or something. It's really just kind of hard to tell. But unbelievable stuff. Let's get back to our tornado warnings now and talk about where we still have tornadoes that perhaps could be on the ground. We're not really positive at this point, but we always err on the side of caution when it comes to that. So got a couple of these storms here that we're looking at. One down here in Winnsboro that we'll also watch as well. But basically, the bulk of the precipitation as we see it right now. We'll just go to the Jackson radar and take a look. I mean, this stuff is wicked right there near Greenville. These are huge thunderstorms coming on by Cleveland, Indianola, back over to Greenville. These are large thunderstorms producing very heavy rainfall, some large hail. I think this is going to be hail inside this storm in Oak Grove. And if you look at it, see how much spin's ongoing here. We do have the tornado that's embedded within. Shows up fairly well on the Jackson radar there as an inbound and an outbound marker, a tornado, as we see it at this point. So that is moving off to the east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour, coming in on the western side of the Mississippi River, just to the west of Lake Providence, and moving on eastward across that area. We've got large areas of inbound and outbound all across this region, too, that go all the way down to Monroe, and as far to the north is southern Tennessee, actually, just to the south of NQA, which is Memphis, Tennessee, as you look up into there. Once again, coming across the river here, so there's one spot right there. This is our second tornado warning. Just issued this for an hour now. This is out of the office, the weather office in Jackson, Mississippi. Chillicothe County, also western Washington County. It looks like Bolivar County in northwestern Mississippi. Until 10:15, you're underneath a tornado warning. Radar indicating a possible tornado along with this storm, and it has quarter-size hail involved with it as well within the middle of this storm, too. So the likelihood of a tornado with large hail still sitting there near Greenville and working its way north and east. A couple other things we were talking about was hail, and yes, we're going to have some large hail, especially this thing right here. This is going to be your golf ball size hail showing up in the vertically integrated liquid just to the south of Fisk or west of Forest. And that's going to be a strong thunderstorm with the possibility of a tornado embedded within and super large hail. Any more insult to injury here? That's just to the south and west of Oak Grove, and has to be watched closely coming on across the Mississippi River here in due time in the next little while. You know, I see a lot of spinning. I see a lot of rotating as you get even further to the north here. These are all close calls that are occurring right here. The Weather Service is looking at those and going, oh, my gosh. We're going to have a lot of close calls here in the hours to come, so they'll be looking at that definitely going through the next several hours. All of that is in the northern side of Mississippi, where it is believed that most of our juice, our energy here that is providing the shearing is going to be kind of like this. And the main areas for tornadoes would be back in here. But we can have them. Errant tornadoes can show up just about anywhere. And once again, we go out to Alexandria, Louisiana, and take a look at the actual radar imagery up and down the line, going from really Shreveport. We can go back to the west of Shreveport and show you. That's the last of the line, it looks like, coming through Carthage, the eastern side of Texas, back over to Blanchard, Vivian, Oil City, and into Benton. Brand new tornado warning now for Oak Grove, Louisiana, Hollandale, Mississippi. That goes until 10:15. Tornado warning right there on the border, on the Mississippi border. So they really just knocked this thing up a notch here, up to a tornado warning. You'll see it. It'll show, it's going to be, I think it's going to be this storm. And let me see if I can find out the best way to look at this. Hello? How about right here? No? All right. We'll look at it with DGX. Radar out of Jackson. See, there it is. That's the new tornado one. The one's in the middle here. Actually, this one, what they did was they allowed it. It was such a small polygon right here. They said, we just got to upgrade the polygon. So they did that. And now the tornado's right there moving in this general direction. If we sort of take a look at this, all this stuff, I think, is still moving at about 45 miles per hour, I believe. Right now, we'll look at it. Moving to the, all right. It's going to be Eastern Carroll Parish. These are back in Louisiana. Eastern Carroll Parish, West Carroll Parish, Southern Washington County in Mississippi, Issaquah County in west central Mississippi, Sharkey County in west central Mississippi. There's a bunch of them here. Till 10:15, these thunderstorms are capable of producing a tornado. $half-dollar size hail is also the possibility as well, coming in near Eudora and going northeastward up toward Belzoni in the next few hours. Belzoni off to the northeast and south of Indianola. Coming across the Mississippi River here near Vicksburg before too long. Like I said, we'll look at that camera here shortly and try to make some get some information about that. I think I got a great camera of the Mississippi River there that shows up even in the dark for this time of the night. But the storms go well down to the south. The one near Campty here is kicking. That thing's producing quite a bit of lightning. And so the likelihood of maybe some spinning here also. Less likely back to the west, but it can still happen. See, there's some spinning right there, a little bit. It's not tightly packed or anything. It's not like, screaming tornado at this point. But all that goes southward all the way down to Manny into the Leesburg area, Rosapine and Robaline. You're in the path of this storm, going well down to the south over to Jasper. A little bit of rotation here. I can see just to the west of Jasper in a storm. Is it temporary? Is that going to last very long? If it's temporary, they'll let it go. They don't pull the trigger on every single scan. It takes 2 or 3 more in order to get some consistency and figure out what you want to do here. But, again, the Jackson radar is probably our lead radar here at the moment, with everything that we are seeing here. And we got all these warnings that are off to the north. They're clustered up into this whole section here that we're looking at. GWX is the radar right there on the Alabama border. Not a whole lot going on there just yet. It'll be a while through the night tonight before that actually happens. In fact, we'll look at the modeling because we now have good models. All the high-res stuff for the next 48 hours is in. The NAM is in, which goes out to, the 60-hour NAM that has 3-kilometer resolutions. That's one of our good models that we look at, and we can sort of kind of watch what's happening there across all of that as well, and we'll do that. Hattiesburg, you'll be next in line here pretty soon for some of the bigger thunderstorms as they'll pop in as well. Let me get you some. I want to get another map here that has some roadways in it because that'll help us out a little bit more. We'll do just the satellite image, which is smaller towns but more roadways. Because it's been proven time and time again, focus groups have told the National Weather Service offices that more people know where they are if they can see an interstate, believe it or not. They know if they're left of I-55 or east to the right of I-55. They tend to know that. That and elementary schools were the 2 things that people could tell you they live near. Hospital was like third. Anyway, I've seen that data, and it's pretty interesting at what it takes in order to help people know exactly where they are, because a lot of people don't know the shape of their county. Some counties out west, I don't know how you know. Your counties are all the same out west. They're boxes. I know mine in the state of Alabama because they're all kind of different shaped, so it does at least help me when it comes to that. So again, let's see, is this another tornado warning or is it the same? Tornado warning including, this is up into Arkansas. Well, it's this one. It's got to be this one. Is that new? Yeah, because it's got 54 minutes on it. So brand new tornado warning now. This one is out of Arkansas, southern Arkansas. And it's trying to tell me that the radar that it wants to use is too old. Is that Little Rock it wants to use, LZK? No, ULM. University of Louisiana Monroe is the one it wants to use. But let's just talk about this. This is Ashley County, Chickett County, and that means severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, quarter-size hail right there into the area. In Hamburg at about 9:25, Snyder at 9:40, 9:45 into Portland, Montrose just a little bit after 9:50, and Dermott and McMillan Corner right about 10:05. The actual tornado, if there is one, is expected to be right there in that general area, and we have to just be paying attention to everything here in the hours to come because it all happens very swiftly, very fast. We'll see the changes occurring. I don't see anything screaming at this point, screaming that we got a big tornado on the ground. We do use something called the correlation coefficient. That was the thing that I was telling you about earlier in the day today. Lets us know about any debris that might be aloft. If you have debris that could be up there, and in this case, that's kind of what we're doing at night is you use that data, the correlation coefficient. You need to use that because eyesight isn't the greatest at night, and, you really can't, unless there's a lightning strike, you don't have anything relative to be able to see. Sometimes you can use a lightning strike just like you would a flashbulb taking a picture. I used to run video camera, high-speed video camera, and then if I thought I saw a tornado, I'd stop that frame, and many times it's actually worked. I was out with Brett a couple of times, and we were able to spot tornadoes just because of a lightning strike or two. So there's your big picture at the moment. We got 3 tornado warnings. Again, I don't think we have one that's immediately on the ground, so here's what I want to do. I want to go through some forecasting data here, if you will. Right now, we still have that risk. It's an enhanced risk. It's in the circle. That's and I'm going to take some of this away. Let me just, I don't know that I can do that. Echo Tops, I'll still have something. Let's see. I was going to use like a winter product. No, don't do that. Well, here's something I can show you. This is really cool. And I forgot to call Drew to tell him this, but different people have been asking me about Radar Omega, and one of the things I like about it? Well, one of them is if you look down here, 3 lines down, see where it says Omega TV? Well, I told you about that. It's going to be a situation to where within the app you can watch the coverage of severe weather. Let me get my head out of the way. Don't do that. So we'll do that. So this is actually our coverage going on right now within the app. This is what I'm doing right now. So if you wanted to have the app, be watching the app, be watching the coverage at the same time and play along, literally be interactive. And I envision this as being within the app. I envision this as, hey, why don't you go grab the velocity data with me and you and I'll go through it here together. And it was my vision for it, and I think they're pretty much on the same page with me when it comes to that. But that's what that's built in there for. And so we'll certainly be watching, we'll be watching how all that unfolds. I just screwed it up because of what I just did. But, in fact, I'll just start it over here. Hold on. I asked it to do 3 things and not the one. So, anyway, what were we doing? We were talking about this. We were talking about what we've got here. Different radar. So here's the current risk according to the Severe Storms Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma. The risk, and it is an enhanced risk right here into the middle. There's still 2 steps higher. We could go moderate or up to a high risk, and we're neither of those. So still enhanced is, like we got all these tornadoes out here tonight. That's what an enhanced risk is for. Now, we don't have long track tornadoes. That would make it a moderate risk. Or large, long-track tornadoes. Those ingredients are not there. Doesn't mean they can't happen, but we don't see an abundance of those ingredients there, or they don't. So that's what they've issued here. And again, what they're saying is that this continues a risk for tornado or 2 through the rest of the night tonight, and the risk lessens the further out you go. It's a slight risk when you get out here to the outer edges, and then you're talking marginal and general thunderstorms out here the further that you get. So it really is literally like a bullseye right in that area. And that is for the rest. Runs until early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. 12Z tomorrow morning is the length of that. Then for the day tomorrow, it's this. Which is equally concerning because they went ahead and there is an enhanced risk now on the Gulf Coast that includes Baton Rouge, it includes New Orleans and Hattiesburg, and all the way back over to the rest of South Alabama is an inclusion here. So you got tornadoes, damaging winds expected Wednesday over parts of southern Louisiana, the Florida Panhandle. A few strong tornadoes may also occur. And so that's another feature there that we're looking at. A few strong ones might be in there. So that would be during the day tomorrow. We've got it, I know we've got tonight, but we still have tomorrow that we have to go through. And the timing on that is going to be into the afternoon once again. Once we get the daytime heating of the day, tomorrow it's going to be a very similar situation that daytime heating will lead to the abundance of tornado warnings going into the latter part of the afternoon and evening and beyond. The rest of the area, nothing. In fact, you can see there's a small area right there. You got about 60 miles where you go from enhanced risk down to just general thunderstorms. The reason for that, and we'll take a look at it in a few moments, is the dew points really shut down right across that area. So stability, you get more stable the further north you go. And so that'll be the case there. Then we get into day 3, and there's still a risk here. Look. Day 3 brings a risk to the Florida Panhandle, to South Georgia, all the way back up the line. Our actual frontal boundary by that point will be right in here somewhere. So there'll still be a large southerly wind that'll be here along with westerly that'll cause spinning and rotation. And so there's the chance for tornadoes there. They probably come in as waterspouts to begin with and end up as they go on by being tornadoes that are on the ground. But look how weirdly this shape is, and it goes all the way along the seaboard, the Mid-Atlantic seaboard, up to Kitty Hawk and Virginia Beach before petering out there. And you know what? Let's see. I don't even remember. Is there a day 4 here that has anything? Day 4 has no data. 5, 6, 7, 8. There's no data. So that's where we are at this point. So we got 3 tornado warnings. Let's do just a little bit of forecasting here while those tornado warnings remain. If there's any kind of a change, I'm looking at it over here. I'll pass that along really, really quickly. Let's go to the HRRR first of all, because we just got the 0Z full, I think. So this is all the data from the HRRR, 48 hours worth of high-resolution data. Why do I pick it? Because right now, at this moment in time, it has the most up-to-date information in the shortest amount of time. See, it updates every hour on the hour. So hopefully your radar, you want your radar to look exactly like the radar in the forecast to look exactly like the radar that is at the present. So that's what we're looking for. Does this look a lot like the radar 2 hours ago? Does it look like the radar right now at 10 o'clock? And it's pretty darn close. So I think I'm going to go with that. I think we go with the HRRR for the moment. And again, because it's high resolution, it gives us almost a real true radar, regular radar look and feel. You go to some of the others, and they're kind of blurry. They're blurred out because and they just don't have the grid levels, not down to 3 kilometers. It's like 40 kilometers out of the GFS and even higher. So here we go. We'll go through it hour by hour. Now, the time of day is right up here at the top. Let me make sure that you can see the initialization time is right there. That's what we're looking at, basically. And so here you go. You can see the cluster of thunderstorms here. But let's move forward with time and take a look. So you see what's happening with the line going on to the east. Most of the precipitation along I-55 at this point. This is 2 a.m. And still the thunderstorms down to the south. Now, here's our concern is this, that some of these thunderstorms are still rotating. That one is for sure. Now you're getting into some rotating, maybe over to Hattiesburg by this point, into Jackson itself. Down here to Baton Rouge, there'll be some that are close to the frontal boundary. Some rotating storms, maybe over here into South Alabama at this point. I think we'll start to see maybe some tornado warnings in and around Destin, perhaps, as we go into that point. Early tomorrow morning, some of the strongest storms of the moment will be in that region. That is for sure. Not going to be a pretty day in some of these areas during the day tomorrow as that passes on by. Look how swiftly it does, too. But again, backing up and taking a look at the bulk precipitation here. Let me stop that. I'm not doing a good job at stopping everything here. Come on back. There you go. So we move into, let's just start with 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's what the radar should look like at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Heavy rain coming down again in Birmingham, Huntsville, Florence, back over to northeastern Alabama. Heavy rainfall should be showing up across this region then. And it goes all the way down to the south to Jackson, Mississippi, and beyond. And this is, again, when some of the big thunderstorms would maybe be producing tornadoes. As far to the south here is Monroe, Crestview, Pensacola, Hattiesburg into the Gulfport, Goshen areas of southern Mississippi, and or Bayou La Batterie on the western side of the Gulf of Mobile Bay, or Bon Secour on the right-hand side, Wolf Bay, the Dog River there, all those areas that are coming in here. Then you got Choctawhatchee Bay into Destin, Fort Walton, that is considerably further to the east, at least at that point. But these are all situations where we may, in fact, and we'll look at that, but we also want to look at the dew point, because this is going to show you, again, why all this is happening. This is the dew point. The 60-degree dew point line is in the area here that's goes all the way up I-55. These are going to be 60-degree dew points way up in here. So there's a tongue of moisture there right on 55 that may lead to having some strong thunderstorms there. These are 70s down to the south, 70-degree dew points into Hattiesburg, back over to Pensacola, Destin, Fort Walton, 70-degree dew points that'll be coming in. I don't know what that is. That looks like a big, let's just be honest. Is that an octopus? Did we just find some artifact? Is that not like some scary octopus in the dew point stuff? This is a dew point map, and there's an octopus in my dew point. It's not your regular normal octopus either. It morphed together into a scary octopus, and now it's an elephant, and now it turns into an elephant with a trunk. Wow. I don't know. I saw a picture of Jesus in a tomato one time that I had, but I've never seen an octopus show up in the dew point temperatures. I'm going to take a screen grab. I got to have this. That's one of the other things it does, too. It lets you take a screenshot. Check this out, because we got to have a screenshot of the octopus. Maybe even the elephant. Let me go down a little bit further. Is that an elephant? That's an elephant right there. I'm going to save these. I'm going to save these for my therapist is what I'm going to do, because he's not going to believe this. It's not just me. Is anybody watching? You can't. I'll tell you what. You gotta, every once in a while, you gotta. I've seen some weird stuff up here. Dew points are high, though, so that's going to lead to, those temperatures being a little bit warmer than normal across most of that area. And as it does so, you'll just have to watch what's going on across the rest of the Gulf Coast. I don't think these are going to be in the form of large tornadoes down through here. I don't for a minute think that's going to be the case. I think that will probably be left over to what's going on into the west. But got some, I really don't know why any of this is broken the way it is. It's kind of weird. I don't think the temperatures would be broken like that. So it's just an oddity that we were looking at there for a moment. Temperature-wise, yeah, there's still some weird stuff going on there in the pictures. Excuse me. Composite reflectivity. Now we get back to 12 o'clock. So we're probably moving up a little bit further. And there you get in Montgomery, back over to Columbus, into Tallahassee and beyond, over to Atlanta, then south down to Tallahassee into Georgia, too. We got some of that right there as well. Macon and Augusta into Atlanta, and then clearing on out from west to east. But the problem is that it doesn't just clear out fast. We've had a low pressure that will be working its way northward. So when the low does that, it's actually going to make its way a little bit further to the north with just the heavier precipitation that'll keep coming on down. So not really a big deal overall here as far as that goes. And here's the line that goes way out here near the elephant into the Gulf of Mexico. There's an elephant in the room. And that's for sure. Let's see. So we go back here. I think these are going to be our standard tornado warnings that aren't confirmed at this moment. Just kind of making sure that everything is still within the realm of what was going on. Well, I got to change that. Hold on a second. And I will go to reflectivity. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but nothing that looks like it's an imminent to be an actual tornado on the ground. I think they're probably just erring on the side of caution again here at this point. That one there looked like it was trying to make something, but I'm not really sure. We're a little bit out of the area that we were concerned about, and not really close enough for it to be any different there overall either. So kind of watching out for all of this as it moves on northeastward out into some drier air. Now, the dew points are much drier here, too, and that's one of the reasons that we don't think there's going to be much in the way of confirmation of anything that's up in that region. But down to the south here for sure, we still have a lot of that going on that will be a continuation of the mess coming in out of the Gulf of Mexico and going northward, and we'll just keep our eyes on all of that. Winfield back down to the south, got lightning clusters there popping up, just as you would see. Let me go back and show you until we get some kind of an update on those tornado. They put these out for an hour. There's still 37 minutes there. I feel like if they could take them away, and they can, and they might do it, because there's just nothing there that looks like it's ominous at this point or could be causing damage. It's a little cluster there that shows up, and another one back here. A little bit of an inbound-outbound mark here, but there's nothing that looks like it could be debris aloft or anything like that coming up. So there's a little hail marker there. And I don't see anything beyond that. So let's talk a little bit about what happened during the day today. Brett had some great video from his drone early in the day. This was Keachai, where he caught the first one. Keachai in Louisiana. That's going to be down there near DeBerry, where we first had that precipitation come in and made its way right off into the rest of that region there where we had the big storm earlier in the day, a little bit earlier, big storm that dropped a large hail. Now watch, this is very disorganized. Wouldn't it be great if we had a bunch of these today and we didn't really have an organized tornado? I know we've had some damage. We've already had a couple of injuries reported early in the day today. And then that debris is really interesting to me as well. The debris that just fell from the sky that we were looking at, that's pretty ominous looking. And maybe that's what we're also seeing when it comes to the rest of the area there, specifically during the day today when we had like 2 or 3 tornado warnings. Maybe some of this was the result of debris like that was, causing those confirmations to take place. That would be a great deal if we didn't have hardly any damage. We've got some pictures coming up here in a few moments, but look how low the cloud is. There's no real obvious. Look at this right here. And see, I can't tell if that's a shingle or is it so far away that's a door. I can't really tell because I don't see a door in order to reference it by. Well, you could. Is it landing on this side of the road or is it landing? Yeah, don't really know where it is. A lot of times back in the past, we used to be able to take in, you could figure out how big a storm was, a tornado was, if it had any reference to anything else along the way. A roadway, you'd know that, it was 10 feet wide. If it went across a roadway, you could use it as a measuring stick. Some things that are obvious can be used as a measuring stick. If you had to measure something right there, and just look at all the volatility there up into the cloud. If you had to measure anything, you could go back specifically and take that barn and measure it if you wanted to, and you could sort of figure that out. So it looks like most of that's going to be that way too. And I don't expect anything else to be any different into the short term. The other thing he found in DeBerry wasn't as clear cut. It was another small sort of a tornado situation that took place, and as a result, that too was the area that we were looking at where we had several tornado warnings. We had them over and over again. Some of these tornado warnings, we hope, were just close calls and not really anything that was on the ground at that point. We've got 1 or 2 of them right there on the left-hand side that we're showing some debris again. I think you'll see it fall from the sky here in just a few moments. A little bit of debris. And when you start looking at the that signature, that what we call the look at that. That's part of the damage. That's the worst damage I have seen so far. Brett got this from the sky. And you can see how the trees were just ripped up by the root ball. Some of them broken. Now, a lot of times, see the one that was broken right there, about 5 or 6 foot up? Typically, that means the wind speed reached 120 miles an hour at a very quick pace. It wasn't a straight line wind. A straight line wind will build up to that speed, and as it builds up, it's going to end up pushing the tree over at the root ball. But when you see one that's broken 5 feet high off the ground, you know that the wind didn't build up. It went to that point pretty quickly, so fast that the canopy of the tree caused enough friction to where it broke the tree off. And so that's probably the case, the way it looks, that's probably the case that happened with a couple of those trees there. Again, they go out and do surveys, and you learn if you've gone out. I've been out on a gazillion of them with the guys. And seen tons and tons of debris. Some of it makes sense, and some of it makes no sense whatsoever. It just depends on the situation. Every single one of them is very, very different, and you never really know. So pretty much what we're looking at there is a couple of pieces of video, a very small tornado. There have been reports of a large, extremely dangerous, large tornado during the day today, yet as you saw in the storm reports with me, none of that actually has been reported at the moment, other than at the time it was supposedly happening there. So kind of what we're looking at there into the short term and the long term as well with our forecasting data. I think we did the forecast there, and we talked about that, about what's going to happen. So it's a prolonged event here in the south. Speaking of which, I mean, there's nothing else I can really say here, although we're up near Leland here at the moment in Indianola. The likely tornado, if there is one, would be somewhere in all of this mess. And I guess if there is one, it might be near Leland here at the moment. So they're either going to have to prolong this. Right there's the edge of the polygon. So they'll either have to move that forward or let that expire. And I just don't see anything that tells me that's a tornado that's on the ground. You got a little cluster here. This is a hail. This is probably hail right here near Burdett. That's a hail artifact. And then right there, I guess, is possible that could be some sort of spin. Let me see. It doesn't show up like it's tight spin. It shows up pretty straight line to me. Montrose and beyond. So that's kind of where we are with that at the moment, with those three warnings. We'll see what happens to them. I do want to show you something, though, if you're looking for something to be interesting, something different to happen here. If you look in the long run, and I'm going to go backward with the timing here. Let's see. We'll use the 12Z? I think we can use the 12Z. This is the GFS, the long-term, long-range model. We'll go to precipitation type. If you live in the southeastern United States, this will interest you because the GFS for the third day in a row says something that rarely happens in the southern United States. Notice the date, the 15th, 12/15. You don't see crap, do you? Hold on. Why did that just happen? How can I go back to it? I could do this. Back to the 12th, 15th, and then forward. This is the model, and I've got it on precipitation and winter precipitation. So here you go. Here we go in time up to the 17th on Saturday. We're getting close to Christmas week here. Got this little thing that brings a little bit of moisture into Dallas, and it might be cold enough for some of that on the fringes to end up being snowfall. So that system goes on by on the 18th. Then the 19th, we get a southerly flow again that comes out of the south. South and west, brings snow into Kansas, Nebraska, through that region. Looks like tried to pick up a little bit of mountain snow there on the 20th for the Great Smoky Mountains. And then this moisture travels south and goes on by again. And then the 22nd, now these things happen sometimes in clusters, these events, these subtropical events that bring subtropical moisture back into the region. They're very cyclic, so they can happen 3 or 4 days apart. This one now on the 22nd, 23rd, watch what happens here. On the 22nd, that passes on by and ends up well off into the mountains. And then the 25th, it appears to be cold enough for there to be snow down into the Gulf of Mexico on the edges, is what the GFS says, with a legit sort of a snow event coming in out of the south again across Arkansas into western Tennessee, Memphis down to Jackson, and then scooting on across with yet a third in weight. So things do look like they're going to be a bit different as we go through time. Even the model from late last night was different enough to where it had that snow event much further down to the south on the 24th. Like, see right here, it's a close call on the 24th for snow to be in Memphis and beyond. This doesn't happen very often. So the reason I'm showing you this is because there's some colder weather that's going to be moving in toward the end of the month into the deep south that may make things interesting from time to time. We get out of this rut of having everything have to be severe that comes through here and perhaps get into something at least a little more interesting and a little more different. So the roundup says that just what we thought, those aren't, true tornadoes on the ground there at the moment. We still have a lot of that moving on by. If there's anything going on, it's going to be right here in this one near Leland, over to Indianola here very shortly along US 61. And then this one back to the west. There's a lot of lightning there again that could be detected. And so there you go, from Montrose back over to Portland, and then back up here into this area, Highway 61, US 61 and beyond, where you got some of that as well that is still going on with some spin probably still taking place there in both those areas. The other thing is, it's just raining like cats and dogs and whatever else you want to talk about. Let's see. I'm in Minnesota. It's more rain, freezing now. There in Minnesota, yeah, I know you got a lot. You've had a lot going on there. I know that's for sure. Is it possible that a tornado is going to hit Jonesboro? No. It's way away from you now in Jonesboro. We don't expect it to retrograde at all. So I think even there's a little bit of rain left up there, isn't there? But that's not going to last for very long. So you're pretty much out of it in Jonesboro now. You never were really into severe weather, so don't worry about that. Michael, Ryan Carty and Brad Arnold caught a decent wedge out of Marshall. Don't think it hit anything but some trees. I've been talking to Brad, and we've had Brad on a couple of times today as well, so I know a little bit about that. And there was some of the reports, though, made it sound like there were wedges everywhere, but that always happens in the short term. And as far as the National Weather Service office goes, when they get a report of a tornado on the ground, the wording for that is there is a large, extremely dangerous tornado on the ground. There's no such thing as them saying there's a small, somewhat benevolent kind tornado that is on the ground. It's a large, extremely dangerous tornado. And that's the only description they give. So sometimes when that gets passed out a lot, it'll make you think it's Armageddon. At least it sounds that way when I'm sitting up here kind of repeating it all back. Snowing in North Dakota? You betcha. Are you in North Dakota? Because I know it's been snowing a ton up there. Let's go to the radar. Take a look at something different. I hear you. Yeah, so this is the top of the comma head. This is the top of the reason for all the stuff that's going on down here, actually. Is it Sarah? Yeah, the winter weather up there. This is all the comma head for everything that's down in here, actually. So there is your low pressure right here spinning around. There's all your snowfall with it over here. It looks like a little mixture here into Wisconsin. Who's in Wisconsin right now? I thought somebody was writing from Wisconsin. It looks like it's mixed up there, and I'd like to know mixed as what. If it's I guess it'd have to be sleet. It's not freezing rain, I don't think. Might have to be 45 minutes. You are 45 minutes west of the border with Minnesota. You live 45 minutes west of the Minnesota border, I think. Is that like Grand Forks-ish? Grafton-ish? You live near Cavalier? I love Cavalier. I got a great camera in Cavalier. I ought to pull that Cavalier camera out because I got a great one up there. Cavalier, where is it? That's Winnipeg. Cavalier, North Dakota, right there in the middle. They have a camera. They let EarthCam put a camera up there, and in like a month, it became one of the most popular sites. It's just a small town there, Cavalier, North Dakota. Just a really small, unique town. And in about a month's time, they already had real estate companies were getting calls, people who wanted to buy property there, who just thought the town was really neat from seeing it on camera. We used to run that camera at least 4 or 5 times a day. One time it was snowing there, and it was there was a blizzard. It was like minus 30, something like that. Whose camera am I looking at? Let's see, Brett. Is that Brett's cam or Brad's cam? There's Brett's cam. He's running into some storms there off into the distance. You can see. Go. A few of those have been popping up from time to time. Still have that tornado Hood, Arkansas. It's Dermont and also Montrose, Lake Village.
I was doing the
They had a
8 ball,
warning up
but
there.
if you
It'll
want
last
more,
for a
we'll
while
do
longer.
more.
It's on the west side of the river. Look at that lightning, and it's the lightning is actually being radiated away, if you will, or refracted away because of the cloud deck that is currently there is making it look like it's covering a huge area overall. Let me see what Bradley's got. That's Brett and Brad Arnold, who is one of our analysts as well. Takes it about 5 seconds to grab their video. Yeah, Brad's traveling down. Are up, and I didn't know about it. Thank you for telling me. I think that's Brett. Were they yelling and screaming? Was he having a good time? Was Brett having a good time? A whoop whoop? Was it some whoop whoop? He's not having a good time. He's punch drunk. Sometimes when we've been up for 20 hours, and he and I both have been up about 20 hours now, I didn't get to take my first nap this morning until like 6 a.m. because of what happened last night, but get a little giddy. His camera just left him again. Let's see about Brad's. Still going to be watching him through the night tonight. I know it's nighttime, so... Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how to just shut that off. I'll just have to think about it some more because I don't get it in my ears at all, and I don't know why. I don't know why you do because I don't know OBS that well, but my apologies. Don't do that. You do what you got to do, I guess. Hold on for just 1 sec. If you'll give me 1 sec, I want to try something. I want to. Yeah, this is the camera over at Vicksburg now. This is Mississippi River, one of the Mississippi River cams, and typically you can see a lot of lightning on this camera when it's coming in from the southwest. This is looking down to the southwest from the Mississippi River camera. That's the bridge going across the Mississippi River there at Vicksburg. And so a lot of people do, kind of watch that situation there as it goes on by. I don't see any lightning at all there. But nonetheless, we have been watching everybody else's cameras, Brett's camera as well as Brad's camera, and both of them have been showing us from time to time quite a bit of lightning that was occurring in both of these locations here, along with some hooping and hollering. It's probably Brett's radio. Let's see if Brad Arnold, if his camera is working here. Again, sometimes we get fooled by the fact that, well, not really fooled, but think about it. They're out in the middle of sometimes nowhere trying to get a signal back to us, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So have to give them credit. I know it's a bit frustrating from time to time, but have to give them credit on what they do and how they get that signal back as often as they do. Let's see. Here you go. Here are the warnings that we currently have. I guess the new one is south of Vicksburg, actually, that we're looking at. The brand new tornado warning down there is the one that we've been looking at now for the last few minutes. This is a new tornado warning listed by the National Weather Service. Once again, out of Jackson, Mississippi. They are the governing body here, and they're calling this a tornado warning near Winnsboro. This is a thunderstorm with a possibility of having a tornado. It goes for the next 60 minutes, and it right here says that Tensas Parish, Madison Parish, and Eastern Franklin Parish, all underneath tornado warnings here, just to the south of Jigger, 8 miles to the south of Winnsboro. Moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. Tornado and quarter-size hail is possible here with a radar-indicated storm at the moment, but moving pretty rapidly now. At 40 miles per hour, if you put that into our deal here, you can see as we go northward here at 40, that would include the towns of Gilbert in 11 minutes, Como at about 18 minutes, as well as Griffin. New Quarters at about 34 minutes, Tensas Bluff at about 36, and Wildcat right in there as well. Somerset almost an hour, and Quimby almost an hour's time. But even in all of that, we're still only looking at a population of about 553 people, so it's fairly rural, unpopulated area there. Fairly, not totally, but fairly rural area there across that region, and so kind of dodging places. I don't know that I've ever seen purple coming back. Let me try that again. That is not a color table I had asked to use. Nonetheless, it's a color table that we will use, and I don't see anything that looks dominantly like a tornado right in there. POE might be. Here's what they're saying is a tornado. There is some backing right there, inbound and outbound. There's quite a bit of cluster of lightning that's showing up there, too, and so that might be one of the reasons for issuing that tornado warning there when they did so. So pretty good news overall as to what we have, at least into the short term, with only a few tornado warnings here at the moment. That one right there is not observed, I don't believe. Get rid of that. It's radar indicated again. What they're saying is a radar indicated, not even radar, the likelihood of radar here at this point. So that is our good news as well. Where are we? Steve is in Puerto Rico. Weather's boring over here. Nothing happening. It's quite a bit. That's kind of like the norm for Puerto Rico, isn't it? I worked in Tallahassee, Florida for about 5 years, too, and without a hurricane or something, it was always pretty boring. Brandon wants some gummy bears. Brandon, sorry I don't have any gummy bears. So they can send me Red Bull and gummy bears. I love Red. You know what? I actually love Red Bull. It's like when it came out, it was one of my favorite things to drink. Now, the whole side effect of it is you're not going to go to bed anytime really soon. But I love the taste of Red Bull. I really do. And I don't like a lot of drinks. The way stuff tastes, I'm pretty normal about that. Yeah, I'm sorry, you didn't ask me that, but he mentioned the Red Bull. What else we got? Gummy bears. Warning, new warning over Tensas, Madison. This one, they reshaped the Leland thing that was so huge. So it's got 11 minutes left on it. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Shaw. Flying debris. Be dangerous if you're caught outside of a shelter. It's large hail there, too. This has 11 minutes in it near Dermot, and it's producing a tornado near Dermot, moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. These polygons. So the deal about polygons is the reasons they were polygons are not just rectangular boxes, nor they used to just be counties, by the way. Back when, probably before you were born, they used to just issue for the county. So it was the shape of the county. Now they use polygons, and the polygon was supposed to be used to show direction, and as the further you got away, I mean, here's the polygon. Here's what, a polygon is supposed to be. A polygon, many-sided. Doesn't mean four, it means many-sided. But the polygon was supposed to start with a point in the middle and then give you a window of opportunity toward the end. So you always knew if you saw the polygon, where's the initialization, the actual storm going to be? Right there. And then it could go anywhere from here to here. Well, now these polygons, when they chop them off, it makes it look like the actual big part of the storm is here and it's headed in this direction. It always throws me for a minute or two. That's not the case. There was more polygon over here, and they just chopped it off because stuff was moving that way. But tiny bit confusing. See, even this one, you don't look at it. Now I use them, and I see motion immediately. When I look at a polygon, a warning, that's just kind of but when they chop them off like that, you don't really have the opportunity. And see, they're chopping these off in this fashion here because they're moving over into, in some cases, they'll do that if it's moving into another coverage area. I don't know what happened to there. But we do have the 3 tornado warnings at the moment. The only 3 warnings we have. We don't even have severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got 3 tornado warnings at the moment. Chickett, also Boulevard, Mississippi, Washington, Mississippi, Franklin, Tensas, and Madison. You're underneath tornado warnings as well. Our radar indicated, as you can see, the Tensas storm has 1-inch size hail. It's been reported 2.5 inches in size during the day today. And as a result, that was causing some problems earlier in the day. As well. So that's where we are at the moment with what we have here with the big storms up and down the line. They'll continue to ride their way onto the east into Mississippi through the night tonight. Do not forget that many of these are going to have to end up with more or less some sort of a warning as we go through the night tonight in places where you might be asleep, say Hattiesburg, say south of Jackson. It's going to continue through the rest of the night tonight. Not at a rate that would make you just, sit and watch out the window as a thing, in a way of sort of lulling you to sleep, perhaps, which is really kind of a weird sort of a thing. So just think about that as you go through the rest of this evening. We're going to, I could stay on here all night, but I wouldn't have anything to tell you without any video. And we have very little video, Brett, and just about everybody is video-less, and I think they're going to have to either go to bed or do something, because everybody stayed up last night when the stuff started early. We had tornadoes. I went on the air last night at 8 o'clock, and we had 3 tornado warnings like the minute I went on the air back in Texas and Oklahoma and then in Kansas. So this is a busy night last night in its own right before what happened tonight. They just went ahead and canceled the tornado watch number 583, by the way, which I think was the westernmost watch. In fact, I know it was. It was the westernmost watch. So they canceled that. Right now, we still have the one that goes until 2 a.m. They didn't really cancel that watch. It expired at 10, I think. So the watches that we currently have, let me throw them on the map for you here before I go to take a look at those. The watches that we still have in effect, and they're going to have different expiration times on them, are going to be this one here. really roughly that go all the way down to Louisiana and as far to the north up here is the northern part of Mississippi, almost to Pine Bluff. This is one of the watch areas here. The probabilities. So this one goes until 2 a.m. Actually, the northern part goes until 2 a.m. The one down to the south here, that's going to go until 2 a.m. as well. And the one to the west might expire here pretty soon. Well, this says 4 a.m. That's a little odd. But anyway, 4 a.m., 2 a.m., and 2 a.m. But the cluster of storms has really lessened quite a bit. Can't you tell? There's just not a whole lot there anymore structurally. Still, they're going to call all these tornado warnings if there's even a glance or a glimmer of them. As you've seen before, just when you think things are gone, there's a little rotation right there. Little rotation. It's not huge. Here's a rotation that's within this little area right there as well with 1 or 2 pixels reading over 50 knots. So we still have some of that going on, but at the moment it doesn't look like anything is imminently going to happen. And other than, just really seeing what you got, at this moment, I think we're going to wrap it up here again tonight and, try to come back for you tomorrow fresh. It looks like most of these storms have done their business during the light of day today, and again during the day tomorrow, we might actually have the risk that goes back up again pretty quickly. They did just reissue this tornado warning, which you cannot see with the watch on there. So let me get rid of it. They just pushed this tornado warning a little bit further to the north. It includes Indianola because of this down to the south, this little area down to the south right here. They did just reissue because of that going in this direction. So watch out for that in Indianola or any of the other places there overall. And then you still got this little cluster down here that has rotation involved with it near Winnsboro. And that'll be moving out through that area going into the next several hours, too, before ending. And then back to the west, it's much different. It's much drier into the state of Texas and beyond. No changes there at all showing up into the long term. Appreciate you being with me here tonight. Thank you so much for your patience. And we'll just keep trucking on here. Still trying to effort getting our goal here was to have like 6 pieces of video going at the same time because it's a visual thing. And I know you don't want to sit here and just listen to me go over every tornado warning over and over and over again. I don't mind doing it, but I don't feel like I'm helping most of the time. I could help out if I had video to show you of what was going on, live video. We're going to have it. We thought about not even doing this yet until we had that capability perfected because we're using some technology that nobody else uses, and that's really all I should say. We're trying to use like 4 different pieces of technology and turn them into one so that we'll have a clear channel the entire time. And I'll just tell you, the reason this came about, the reason this happened was 20 years ago, I saw Fox do a race, cover a NASCAR race. And they were doing the stuff, I don't know if you've ever seen a race covered by Fox, but they were doing it. They went really far with technology very quickly, going in-car cam with the drivers. And then they had some identification so you could see where the car was on the track. Don't want to oversell this too much, but I had visions of it being driven by GPS points, Google Earth. I mean, I'm not giving away anything that I think anybody else could do quicker than we've done because we've been working on it for a while. But I think once we get it done, you're going to appreciate it for what it is, and I think it'll be a way to really keep you and your family safe without having to hear a nummy nut tell you, 24/7. I think you're going to be able to do it a lot by yourself. I also appreciate what you said tonight about Radar Omega company. I do work for Radar Omega now, but I was touting them 6 months ago when I didn't. The product is somewhat new as well. Now, I've been doing this over 40 years myself, and I've worked with a lot of different products. This one has a little bit of everything going on with it at the moment. Hold on one second. They actually just sent a new meso discussion for flash flood possibilities down to the south, into southern Louisiana here because of flash flooding. Seems to be one of their main concerns now because there really isn't a lot of push into the upper atmosphere to take the front much further off to the east. So they're a little bit worried about this producing rain over and over and over again in the same areas. Let me take this back quite a few frames and see how much it does move. I'm going to put a line above it and a line below it. Let's see if it moves out of that channel after 100 frames or so. Oh, I didn't put it on. Okay, well, let's try 75 frames. Yeah, you see why they just did what they did. If you put two lines down, that mess right there didn't go south or east at all. That stayed there from 7:20 until 10:20, we'll say, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 hours worth of rain didn't really move. It stayed within the boundaries of the two lines that I drew on there. So it's pouring down here. Storm total's got to be really high down here. Check this out. These storm totals are going to be in the 3-4 inch range, I think. Yeah, like 2.5 or 3. And now it's really just beginning to pick up. Same thing over here coming in from Rosapine. 2.5 inches that goes up to Alexandria there. So there's reason for that, to think that there is a threat of some sort there. So kind of watching out for all that, all facets of weather. We'll join you again during the day tomorrow, especially into the afternoon. I'm sure we'll have tornado watches. It'll pop back up again across Mississippi, so we'll be here for that. And we'll get a fresh round with Brett Adair. He probably has some more video that he took during the day today. Thank you so much for being with me here tonight. You're watching LSM Television. I'm meteorologist David Neal, and this is, just kind of what we do. So thank you, and I hope everybody is safe tonight. We really appreciate you hanging in there with us.